This is a short video on how to buy auto insurance in the state of Maryland from a personal injury lawyer's point of view. Whenever someone gets into an accident, they'll contact our office for injuries, and we find that they're not properly insured. So let me give you some different tips on how to buy car insurance. Many of you buy the car insurance online, and you get little if no advice. My suggestion always is to hire a reputable car insurance agent to give you the proper information. But buying car insurance online could be a bit of a problem, and so that's why I decided to do this video. So let's talk about number one is protecting yourself in case the accident is your fault. In the state of Maryland, the minimum requirements for insurance is what's called $30,000 per person or $60,000 in an accident. So if you are involved in a serious accident, so to speak, and it is your fault, the other person that was injured can get up to a maximum of $30,000. And if there are several people in the car, the policy would only pay out a total of $60,000. Now, that could be problematic when you have a serious injury. So, for example, if you have $30,000 worth of damage of insurance, and someone in the car that you hit has a serious accident, let's say has a claim that's worth $150,000, your insurance company is only going to pay $30,000, and you could be liable for the other $120,000, and that's not a good thing. Insurance companies try to sell you minimal policies because they make the most profit. So my suggestion is to raise those limits. Do not go with a minimal policy limits. It might cost you a few extra dollars, but it certainly protects you, and buy higher limits. If you have a house, if you have a good job, I suggest getting at least $100,000, if not $250,000 worth of liability coverage. It's really important, and it will protect you in case you have a serious accident, and it is your fault. Now, then, secondly, is personal injury protection insurance. This is Maryland's answer to no-fault insurance. So if you get into an accident, it could be your fault, it may not be your fault. The minimum coverage, unless you waive it, is $2,500 worth of personal injury protection. So this would pay for some medical benefits, going to the hospital, going to patient care or patient first, and also some lost wages. Well, so if you get into an accident, you can use up to $2,500 and either be covered for medical expenses or lost wages. You can increase the personal injury protection by talking to your agent or online, and raising it from $2,500 to $5,000 or $10,000. Again, this would help you if the accident's your fault to pay for expenses, or even if it isn't your fault, you can avail yourself of this personal injury protection. Don't waive it. I mean, it's really important. You can waive it in the state of Maryland. You think you're saving some money, but in the long run, if you do get involved in an accident, you're not saving anything. Okay, now let's talk about uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage. This is super important to Maryland drivers. It's amazing how many drivers in the state of Maryland do not drive with insurance, try to skirt the law and have no insurance. And supposing you get into an accident with one of these people. Well, if you don't have decent uninsured motorist coverage, you will have a major problem, especially if you have serious injury. So you could be driving around with minimal coverage of $30,000 per person, $60,000 combined limit, and that would be the most you would get under your uninsured motorist coverage. So my point, as I said before, is to obtain the highest level of coverage you can within your ability to pay for it, to protect you and your family. So let me give you an example. Supposing you were involved in an accident and you had $100,000 worth of injuries and the other person wasn't insured. Well, if you have the minimal coverage, all you're getting is $30,000. If you had $100,000 worth of coverage, then you could get additional monies from your uninsured motorist coverage. So it's really important that you get the highest amount that you can afford. Now let's move on to underinsured motorist coverage. This is where the other driver doesn't have enough insurance. Now, if that person has the minimum coverage and you have a minimal coverage, you're stuck with that minimal coverage of $30,000. However, if you have, let's say, $100,000 worth of damages and the other person has a minimal coverage of $30,000, you can get additional coverage through your own insurance coverage under your underinsured motorist coverage, in this case of $70,000. You subtract out the $30,000 from your $100,000 coverage. So the more you have for either the uninsured and underinsured coverage, which is basically both the same, the better off you'll be in case someone hits you and there's not enough insurance or no insurance coverage at all. So my suggestion is to discuss it with your agent, get the best possible coverage you can get, and avail yourself of that. One other matter to consider is property damage coverage on your vehicle. The minimum limit in the state of Maryland is $15,000. Well, if you're driving around with insurance that only covers you for $15,000 and it's your fault and you hit a Mercedes or a BMW and that car's worth maybe $50,000 or $60,000, you're not going to have enough coverage to either fix it if it can be fixed or if it's totaled. So again, you should raise the minimal limits from $15,000 to at least $50,000, probably $100,000, to protect yourself from damaging other vehicles. Now, in the same vein, too, is to make sure that you have enough limits for property damage in case you get hit by another vehicle that doesn't have enough coverage. So, for example, you have a Mercedes and you have $50,000 worth of damage and the other person has minimal coverage and they only have $15,000 worth of insurance coverage. Well, you're out $45,000. So make sure you have enough insurance to cover your property damage in case the other person that hit you either doesn't have insurance or does not have insurance. So you're protecting yourself in two different ways. One is if you damage another vehicle and it's your fault and you'll have enough coverage to pay for the other vehicle. And number two is if the other person who's at fault damages your vehicle, you have enough coverage to protect yourself and your vehicle if they don't have enough coverage. It's really important that you do that. Creates a situation that could be a nightmare if you don't do it properly. And again, this is where you consult an agent. If you're involved in an automobile accident and you're injured, please feel free to contact our office at 410-766-7630. You can visit our website at www.steinhardtlawfirm.com. My name is Michael Steinhardt. The name of the law firm is Steinhardt, Siskin, and Lieberman. We're conveniently located, and if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. Thank you.